I'll be frank with everyone watching. I exercise to look good. Sure, it helps with combat sports, and I feel better and healthier, but I think most men between the ages of 18 and 30 exercise for one main reason. So how do we go about building an aesthetic body? The one big assumption I will make is that most people watching this video are beginners when it comes to exercise, weightlifting, and any type of muscle growth, which is between 0 and 2 years of consistent exercise. Now, before we can delve into any specific strategies, I want to give the caveat that this will vary widely depending on what body fat you're starting at and what muscle mass you naturally already have. For skinny guys, it might be a little bit easier. You might just be able to eat a little bit more food and you'll be able to put on the muscle. For people who are overweight, this is where I started, so don't stress out too much because I was literally in your position. We need to remember that we can actually lose weight and gain muscle at the same time as beginners, so we can go through both of these processes and they should all be smooth as butter. Our goal will be to roughly get between 10 to 15% body fat, get some visible abs at the minimum, and at the end of the day, get you feeling good and proud of yourself. Because having an aesthetic body is nice, but I feel like the main reason people want the body is just to have a little bit more confidence in themselves, just to be able to put yourself out there in the world more. And trust me, when you get that physique, it does become far easier. So let's quickly cover how to diet properly. I'll just prescribe this: focus on single ingredient foods. Keep them healthy. This will also help some other factors like your hormones in your skin. We don't want to be feasting on junk food all the time. If you're a little bit skinnier, you can maybe add some more higher calorie foods like peanut butter into your diet to get all the extra calories in, but don't be eating a bunch of chocolates, don't be dirty bulking. There's no need to go this way. So if you're too skinny, we need to focus on eating more. And you know exactly what this means. I don't need to explain it. You can either track calories or see what you're eating now and just make your portions bigger. If you don't take this advice, it's just another form of procrastination. We all know what we have to do. We're just waiting for someone to do it for us. No one ever will. And if you're overweight, focus on eating a little bit less. Keep the protein higher, eat a little bit less calories, and you should be fine. Once again, you kind of already know intuitively what to do. The opposite of someone who's skinny. You make your portion smaller, make sure you're eating healthy food, and you should be able to slowly lose the weight. My whole channel is basically dedicated to this, so check out any of the other videos on there. You want to be measuring your weight. So for overweight people, if your weight is going down weekly, that means you're doing a good job. For people that are skinny, if your weight isn't going up weekly, that means you have to eat more. And depending on where you are, you either cut your portions or make your portions bigger. And I know it's hard to measure things. It sucks, but so does every other worthwhile thing. Now let's cover how to work out properly. We want to focus on 5 main muscle groups. We're basically all going to tailor it to the upper body and giving us that V taper. If we're just trying to get max results for all the time that we have, then this is all we should focus on. If you look at any of the research studies, the most attractive muscles, the most attractive body physique is that V taper. It's the wide shoulders, the skinny waist, and for that reason, I recommend skinnier guys to get a little bit bigger and the overweight guys to get a little bit slimmer. For all the muscles that I'm going to mention, you should be roughly doing 10 to 20 sets of that muscle per week, which means you're gonna have to work out. But I mean, you pressed on this video, I think that's kind of blatantly obvious, right? Muscles aren't gonna grow by manifesting them. Now, going in descending order from being most important to least important. The most important one, number 1, is abs. We will only really get abs through dieting. If you're overweight, don't focus on too many ab exercises. All you have to do is just cut down to a leaner body fat. You can do some type of weighted ab crunches. Don't try to grow your abs by doing 1,000 sit-ups. Sit-ups are bullshit. If you want to grow your chest, would you do 1,000 push-ups? No. You would put weight on your back and do weighted push-ups, or you would bench press. You want to treat your abs just like any other muscle. So if you're skinny and you really want your abs to pop, I mean, personally, I've never really trained abs, but if you want, you can do any type of weighted crunches, any type of ab machine should do good as long as you are adding weight to it and progressively overloading. If you are overweight and you're not going to commit to your diet, forget about any type of ab exercises. It's just going to bloat your stomach and make you look fatter. Number 2, we have shoulders. This is probably the most important muscle next to abs because it will give you that wideness. The whole aspect when it comes to the V taper, it's how wide the shoulders are versus how much they come down into the waist. So if we can get to a lower body fat and get those big shoulders, this is probably the biggest bang for our buck muscle when it comes to giving that attractiveness. The next thing we have to cover is biceps. This is just another one of those girl muscles. I'm not gonna lie. I personally don't like training biceps too much, and like my biceps aren't the biggest, but I've seen a lot of people recommend that you train this for pure aesthetics. So I'm gonna leave this one in there because it seems to be one I disagree with, but a lot of people would say that I'm wrong. So for society's sake, I'm gonna put biceps in number 3. Number 4, I'm gonna say traps and neck. This, thank God, is making a resurgence. To get that more manly look and not look like a little boy, you're gonna have to train your traps and neck. There's a huge difference between what a guy with huge traps looks like and a thick neck compared to some little TikToker who has a little skinny neck and little skinny boy traps. Thankfully, these muscles aren't too difficult to grow, and you can actually hit your traps while doing shoulders, and your traps will also be hit through various other exercises, like if you're doing deadlifts. So by proxy of just working out, sometimes you'll probably grow your neck and traps. For neck, it's a little bit harder. You're probably gonna have to do more isolation exercises, but I definitely say growing your neck is very, very worth it. Plus, if you ever get kicked in the head, if you do combat sports, you are much less likely to get knocked out. So I recently took a fat head kick and I stood up and walked away from it like it was nothing, because I've been training my neck and traps for the last like 6 months. And lastly, we have forearms. I don't know what it is about forearms. It just seems like girls are addicted to this type of thing. If you have big, thick forearms, it seems so manly or whatever, all the veins running down. I'm not gonna get too deep into this. If there's a girl watching this, correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, these are the most important muscle groups we can train. We can also hit legs, you know, do our deadlifts, hit our back, but we should prioritize these specific 5 muscle groups. If we do this, we can easily build an aesthetic body that we can be quite proud of. If you want more information like this, press the first link in the description and join our free Skool group. I recently made a fat loss masterclass, so check that out. If I give you anything of value, consider subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to stay savvy with your diet.